Welcome to Thieves' Cant, a tabletop gaming podcast with your hosts, Jeremy Shane and Chris White.
Welcome in and welcome back. It is Thieves' Cant, Monday, November 17th. Hope you're doing well. I'm Jeremy Shane.
And I'm Chris White.
Glad to have you back as always. Thank you for subscribing at Thieves' Cant Cast wherever you listen. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all the other channels. If you want to get in touch with the show, drop us an email, thievescantcast@gmail.com. Chris, how was your week?
It was busy.
Yeah?
A lot going on, a lot of work going on, unfortunately.
Yeah, this was one of those all work, no play weeks.
Yeah, you got to have those every once in a while, I guess.
Right.
So,
right.
you know.
Well, hope you are doing well. Lots of good stuff coming up on the show today. We've received a request, Chris, for more randomly generated cursed items. So we're going to deliver, but we're going to step it up a notch as we head into the Forge of Creation to not only roll up a new cursed item, we're going to, against our better judgment, we're going to try to stat this thing out for a draw steal and maybe 5e as well.
5e is usually pretty easy.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're going to do it, and we're going to dig into the vault. Do you remember that old TV show, Friday the 13th, the series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember any specific episodes, but I know it was a thing.
Well, that was like the thing, right? It was like this cursed antique store where, like,
Okay.
I know that sounds weird now, but it's like they would have all these like cursed items. They'd lock them up in the vault, you know.
Ooh, all right.
They'd have to go fetch them out in the world or whatever. That's what it feels like what we're doing.
Okay, because, the request originally for the cursed item was, hey, make this a weekly segment. And,
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know if we can do it weekly, but we'll do it every once in a while. But maybe we could have an item shop segment. Who knows?
Maybe. But I just, it kind of reminds me of that. It's like we're pulling these things out of the vault and showing them off on Antique Roadshow of Evil or something.
So we've got that coming up. We've also got a little bit of listener feedback and a crowdfunding spotlight to get to. But first, it is the Thieves' Cant question of the week. We've all been there. You're in the midst of your tabletop fun and the dice go cold. Now, what do you do with the dice that just aren't delivering, Chris? Do you replace them with a different set? Do you just keep rolling and hoping? What is your practice?
I assume we're talking as a player.
Yeah. So GM, you tend to just whatever. But as a player.
Yeah, as a player, I, for good or bad, I buy dice for every character I play. So those dice are associated with that character, and those are the only dice I'm bringing. And it doesn't matter what they're rolling. That's what I'm going to roll with the whole time.
That's the character's dice.
That's the character's dice.
It.
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's an interesting approach.
Yeah. I think it's a problem that I have, but
well, at least you don't buy a new dice set for every character you make. Just the ones you play.
Right. Yeah, no, the ones the 360 that I have in concept in D&D Beyond right now, I do not buy dice for.
Okay. So. For me, I just, I've kind of got my default large bag of dice. They all get dumped into the dice tray. I've got multiple D20. I've got multiples of everything in there. So I'll just kind of keep a steady rotation going from roll to roll. I may not roll the same D20 this turn as I did last turn. I just kind of grab one and roll and hope for the best. And that way I can't be too disappointed by any singular die.
Yeah, which is insane. I just want you to know, sometimes I just watch in horror as you roll dice.
We really couldn't be more different in our dice approach,
true.
right?
It's true. Yeah, it's very different. But you know what's interesting is that approach, because I always felt like, this die is rolling terrible. In my mind, it's like one of those slot machines at Vegas. It's like, this baby's due to hit.
It's gonna hit.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's rolled like 3 2s in a row any minute now. It's gonna hit.
Yeah, because if you've rolled 3, 4 2s in a row and you put that die aside, there's a little old lady who's gonna watch you walk away. She's gonna come over,
pick it up and crit.
She's gonna critically hit.
Yes.
Yes.
You're not getting it, old lady. That's my crit.
All right. What are your dice habits? How do you handle cold dice? Do you put them in like dice timeout, dice jail, throw them back in the bag? Let us know what your approach is. You can drop that in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's move on. We've got a wee bit of listener feedback.
We've continued to receive some thoughts on our Draw Steel series.
Which is great.
The series.
Both getting the comments and the series.
I'm glad you clarified that. In response to our skepticism of Draw Steel's negotiation system, we got some feedback here from Clark Evan. It says, I think the act of applying motivations and pitfalls to an NPC is very useful even when you don't have a negotiation. It's almost just the same as bonds, ideals, and flaws from D&D, or my go-to, which is drives and fears.
Yeah, I think like drives, that might be Powered by the Apocalypse.
Okay.
Games of that ilk. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, Clark is not the first to respond to our criticism. Initial, I think skepticism is the word that you use. That's probably a better choice of that negotiation system. Yeah. Everyone who has actually played it is telling us, no, it's good.
Yeah.
Just like work with it, try it.
Well, and I like the idea he's talking about here. You know, even if there's not a negotiation, that's kind of a cool idea for every NPC to have that. Maybe they got a hang up. You know, you could hit that. Or,
you can still use that to fuel your role play.
Yeah, or exploit a trait or whatever it is. Yeah, it brings those NPCs up a notch. It gives them a little more personality.
Yeah, so even if you never actually use the negotiation system, having the statistics that are tied to that system can still be helpful in informing role play.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you, Clark.
Yeah. Clark gives us a little more as well. He shares his thoughts on downtime projects, also a Draw Steel system. Clark says, downtime projects blew my mind. So much player-led content to be had here. Not just the respite and project role, but, and Chris, this is something that we were pretty high on when we read it, the quests to find the ingredients and events as well. You could almost have a game with no other plot lines, just players choosing where to go next to complete their projects. I think this is 100% true. You wouldn't even need to dangle out any kind of quest hooks, adventure seeds. You could just feed off of those downtime projects.
As soon as I read it, I was like, this is going in every game that I run. I don't care what the system is. Yeah. Like, I think it's great. I love that there's transparency. You know, it's not like, oh, the secret ingredient. No, you know what you need. You don't necessarily know how to get it or where to get it, but you can figure that out. And it's built-in adventure. You know, like, oh, we're going to make, we want to make this magic potion. Well, we got to have a phoenix feather. Where do we get a phoenix feather? You know, right. Or something as simple as we're building a road and, the workers union goes on strike.
Right.
Or
one of those random event rolls.
Right. Or there's a cave in, right? Yeah. Whatever.
Or we discover an old ancient road underneath.
That makes it easier. Right.
Yeah.
So I love it. Like, that might be my favorite piece of Draw Steel, to be quite honest. I completely agree with Clark. This is brilliant.
Yeah. Clark, thanks so much for the feedback. Speaking of that Draw Steel series, Clark is referring to Thieves Can't Capers. That's our sister show. We've got a 10-episode series, a 10-episode look at Draw Steel. It's a lot, but we encourage you to take a listen and let us know what you think.
It's a lot of us. So if you enjoy our sultry voices and our brand of wit and humor, then I'm sure you'll enjoy the entire 10-episode experience.
And we're probably going to add on to that. So
that's right.
Yep, more to come. All right, that is listener feedback. If you've got feedback, again, you can let us know what you're thinking in the comments. You can also email thievescantcast@gmail.com. Moving on, we've got a crowdfunding spotlight. Some of my favorite gaming resources, Chris, are setting books. Aside from a good, solid rule set, just having a cool setting to play in can make all the difference, right?
Yep.
And here we've got a really neat one. It's called Into the Cess and Citadel by Wet Ink Games. It's currently funding on Kickstarter. I think about 19 more days to go as of this recording. This is a second printing of an ENnie award-winning setting. So it's not a brand new offering, but it is a slightly updated printing. If you're seeking to incorporate a strange, colorful, terrifying city into your game, check this out. Designed to turn the traditional city into a more immersive dungeon-like adventure setting. Now, that's kind of interesting. A city that kind of plays like a dungeon crawl.
Yeah.
Right?
That's piqued my interest.
You get rules for everything from small urban dungeons to a total urban conversion with a world filled with disasters, factions, encounters that react to the player's actions. There's a series of generators, which I love, for creating an urban environment from a 6-mile district down to a single building, along with an essay that guides you on how to run urban adventures. All of this information, by the way, is coming directly from the Kickstarter page. There is a link in the show notes if you want to explore more. But if you back this, you're getting information, tools, tricks for both players and game masters. It is system agnostic as well. They say most of the stats and contents are designed for D20 style games, but the book has been written to be as system neutral as possible. So that means that rules and stats are bare bones. The intention is just to be widely compatible, no matter what game you're playing. Enough information is given that a GM and a player can easily adapt it to their preferred system. So sounds pretty good if you're looking for a cool urban campaign with dungeon-like elements. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So initially, looking at that pitch, I thought it was like a specific city that they were just like filling out all the information for. But this is really more of a tool for you to build any city you want.
I think maybe you get a little of both.
Do you?
I think you get a setting, but then they are also handing you a toolkit as well with those generators and advice, so that if you're looking to build your own, I think you could use this to do so.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I might have to look into that one.
All right. Again, that is Into the Cess and Citadel, quite the name there, from Wet Ink Games on Kickstarter. One more stop in today's show, and as always, the trepidation has been creeping up on me the closer we get to entering the Forge of Creation.
The Forge of Creation.
All right, so as we said at the top, our goal today is to roll up a new cursed item, and then we're going to do our best. We are not professional designers to give this item some stats. We're going to try to use it for both Draw Steel and 5e, and I am scared.
No, man, it's going to be fine. We're not professional podcasters either, so
well, that's true.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, typically when we come into the Forge of Creation, we conceptualize. We come away with like some good imagery, maybe a good hook, but we've never actually put stats to anything.
Yeah.
Today is the day that we might change that.
This is it.
All right. Well, I've got my handy Tome of Adventure Design from Mythmere Games open to a small item D100 table. So we're going to find out what kind of item this is, and then we'll apply the benefit and the curse to it. Okay. Sound good?
I'm ready. I have your dice. Today I'll be rolling a purple and white 10s and a white speckled 1s.
Okay.
Place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For my 2 10s?
Yeah. Yep. So it's a D100 roll. Let's have it.
4.
Okay. It's a string of beads.
Oh.
So I'm going to flip over to the beneficial conditions and curses section. This will be a couple of rolls. The first roll is going to tell us what sort of benefit this string of beads gives us.
39.
So our benefit, if you are in possession of this string of beads, then you permanently gain the ability to speak or read or understand a new language.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Is it good enough?
Well, I don't know. You need another benefit? It's kind of boring.
I feel like the player at the table, I'm just kind of underwhelmed by what the director handed me.
Let's roll another one.
And if it's like wildly unrelated, well, let's just see what
Let's
happens.
just see what happens. We're having fun. 91.
Okay. All right, this is unrelated to anything having to do with reading a language.
Okay.
So it grants the ability to levitate or fly, likely temporary, and linked to a particular place in the adventure area where flying or levitation is required in order to bypass a hazard or obstacle. That's vague and specific all at once, right?
So it lets you fly or levitate in a specific place. That's interesting.
Yeah, or maybe we just say for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I think we can make this work.
So are we keeping the read languages aspect? Keep
Heck
that?
yeah.
Okay.
We can make it work.
All right.
This is easy.
Okay.
We'll be fine. Give me that curse.
Let's roll once again for the curse.
88.
Okay, this curse will impact saving throws. A temporary penalty measured in time. So how might that manifest in play? What does that look like? I mean, what is that penalty?
So we got two abilities with this thing. We learn a language permanently, and we can fly or levitate for a certain amount of time.
Right.
So it makes sense, I guess, that the penalty to saving throws would be associated with that.
With that flying?
Yeah.
Or levitating?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be honest. Like, the first thing I heard when I heard beads, and this is just me, but my mind instantly went to, like, prayer beads. And then when I thought about, this ability to speak a language and this ability to fly, like in Draw Steel in particular, it drew me towards, like, a saint. So maybe this was a saint that was from a specific region. So you learned that language.
Okay.
Like, you're kind of like linked to them, right? And so, I'm kind of getting into the backstory of the item at this point.
Yeah.
But maybe that saint did perform some miracle where flight was important, but in doing it, they were killed by a specific element or item. Like, maybe they, were struck by a fireball. It would negatively affect your saving throws versus fire when you were invoking that magic to fly.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
So you're kind of linked to that saint. Of course, in Draw Steel, the saints are sort of like, they're not gods, but they're mortals who did something really incredible, really noteworthy. And they may have, I suppose,
they have ascended in some way.
Exactly. They sort of have an avatar feel to them, but a lot of the temples are dedicated to saints and things like that.
Right.
So that was the first thing I was drawn to, and maybe it's because we've played so much Draw Steel lately, but I
dig that. I dig that. What if this were a consumable, and each time you use it, a bead,
you lose a bead.
You lose a bead.
Yeah.
And so there's a clock on it. Like, you've only got so many uses of this.
Yeah. And you think about the weakness. The ability to fly is cool at low levels. This is definitely a low-level item, I think, right? I mean, it's limited flight.
Yeah. I mean, in Draw Steel, you're going to have some characters, classes, that can just fly because they can.
Right.
So this will not be a benefit for everyone, to your point.
Right. And learning in another language is kind of cool. So it's not a super powerful item. And plus, it's got this negative, this detriment to your saving throws. So,
yeah, which in itself is fairly conditional. So maybe it's not this huge blow to you.
Yeah, I think it needs to be something odd, right? You kind of think of like Baldur getting struck down by mistletoe. You know what I mean? You almost want it to be you have a really big vulnerability, but it's to something so obscure. Somebody would have to know that weakness in order to exploit it.
So in Draw Steel terms, all of their items are rated by echelon. There are 4 echelons of play over the course of your 10-level character career. Mm-hmm. So would it be fair to say that this is a first echelon item?
I think so. I mean, it obviously depends on the frequency that you set it up, but if it's just limited flight for a few rounds, and there's a drawback thrown in there, yeah, I'd say it's probably first echelon. I
Okay.
definitely wouldn't go higher than second. As far as the save goes, I think just a bane to a specific save, versus a specific element
Right.
or damage type
And this is while you are flying
while you're flying
or
yes.
levitating. So,
Yes.
I mean, what makes sense in that regard? I know you were kind of, creating a little, what if there's some lore tied to a saint that informs what type of save this might impact,
Mhm.
which I like that idea.
Mhm.
Outside of that, what makes the most sense? If you're flying, what might you be vulnerable to? Forced movement of some kind, like you're not stable on the ground, so maybe a strong gust of wind.
It's harder to resist. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you could do something like that. I mean, I'm trying to remember. Do they break down like arrows kind of make sense to me?
Sure.
Or something like
projectile attacks. Of course, that's
pretty broad.
right.
So, I mean,
and that's nothing that a save really focuses on anyway.
Right. It could be a specific element, like maybe he was struck down by electricity, like a lightning blast or something.
I think the route to go is to tie it to lore, like you initially tried to do. I think that's probably the smart way to go.
That works in that regard, and I think it makes, when you're considering if you want to construct one of these for yourself, it starts making the item prerequisites a lot easier.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even consider that.
Right, because if you had this physical saint that existed, you could have a prerequisite like maybe a small vial of his ashes or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I like drawing it in and saying, hey, this saint accomplished this. It explains why there's a weakness. It explains why there's maybe they were accomplishing these great tasks and boom, they got struck down and they died and everybody was sad, but the good thing happened. It
right.
draws itself in pretty easily.
Okay.
You can fly, but you have a weakness.
You get the language associated with that saint. As a maneuver, your speed can become a flying speed.
Yep.
For what's the duration?
That's a good question. I think you want something that's going to last the majority of the combat.
So maybe for the rest of the encounter.
Yeah, I think
just make it clean and simple.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay.
Because you are spending a resource and there is a downside. Yeah. So,
but as long as do we want to make it as long as you are flying, or also until the end of the?
Yeah, I think once you activate it.
Yeah,
it's on.
So whether you're flying or not, you still take the bane to saves versus this, lightning damage.
Right. So if you're fighting a lightning elemental, probably don't want to take off.
That does make it easier to track if we just know that the benefit and the penalty are going to last now for the duration of the encounter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we need to name this thing?
Well, if we knew who the saint was, that would be beneficial.
Yeah, it's pretty much just making that up.
Right. And there might be somewhere in the Draw Steel book a saint that would fit our purposes.
What was the name of the character we made?
Oh, was it Thaddeus Bushman?
Yes. That is the name. Saint Thaddeus right there.
Okay.
There you go. The beads of Saint Thaddeus.
Maybe a working title.
Yes.
But it's in place as of now. Okay, so if we think of the beads of Saint Thaddeus in a Draw Steel consumable stat block, here's what we're looking at. Keyword is going to be magic.
Mm-hmm.
Item prerequisite. You mentioned maybe a pinch of the ashes of Saint Thaddeus.
Yeah.
Wherever those might be. Right.
Like fried.
So you've got to have some of the ash. A project source could be an old tome, a text,
mm-hmm.
right? Or
yeah, sure.
Some scholar. A project role characteristic, reason or intuition.
Yeah,
would make sense here.
Absolutely.
And then at first echelon, the project goal in terms of the points needed. These all seem to be around 45, so we could just call it 45.
Yeah, sounds good.
And maybe that makes you 3 beads that you can put on a string.
Yeah.
Right, so you get 3 uses out of it.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds fun.
Okay, so that's the Draw Steel version. How would you approach this in 5e?
I'd say it's going to be easier because in 5e, you don't really get the breakdown of how to create the thing, which now that I've had that, I want it in D&D.
Right.
Like now I demand it because they're really secretive with, and I know Magic, it's special, but come on, tell me how to make it. Give me a recipe.
Right.
So in saying that, I don't think it's nearly as detailed as what you would need for draw steel.
Where I would first go, if I'm trying to make this for 5e, is there a spell that achieves what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Like once a day or for this many uses,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a consumable, you can essentially cast that spell. Sometimes that's the most straightforward way to go about things.
I agree. I mean, obviously you have this fly spell.
So maybe some version of the fly spell.
Yeah, I'd say flight at low levels is pretty powerful. Usually around 5th or 6th level.
Okay.
In D&D is when you start really seeing it become common. Like casters have access to it. So for it to be a low-level item and have that, yeah, it requires attunement.
And again, they only get it so many times.
Right.
So that's a balance.
Yes.
So is it any more complex than that? You can burn a bead, cast the fly spell, but you will also now have disadvantage
on saves against the element.
Right.
Whatever, electricity or whatever we've said it is.
Sure.
I'd say a rare item.
Yeah.
Seems about right. So
you know 5e better than I do. Are there any other fields that we need to fill in here? Or does that pretty much cover it?
and that's really it. I mean, you think about things like weight and cost, but I think the weight's going to be negligible. The cost, who knows? Like, I don't even think they fill that in on their magic items. So I think that's, a wondrous item, a rare wondrous item, seems like to me. Once per day, you can cast the fly spell on yourself. Yeah, you take a disadvantage on saves against any lightning attack.
Yeah,
during that time.
Oh man! Now you immediately start thinking as a game master, and once your PCs have access to this, they're flying around. Oh, well, don't you want to start calling down some lightning strikes somehow? Put them in an environment, in an encounter where they have to use it. They've got to fly, but there are these environmental hazards that they are going to be disadvantaged against.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
So, like lean into everything that this item does, the good and the bad, and really showcase that.
Well, yeah, you don't want every encounter to have lightning in it, because the character then, why'd you even give them the item? They're not going to be able to use it. But every once in a while to throw that out, or maybe, hey man, we're fighting that pretty tough wizard that we've been building up to for a few sessions. Well, just maybe he's got a lightning bolt in his arsenal.
And he's way up on that parapet.
He sure is.
And you've got to fly up there to get to him.
Yeah.
So,
and he looks like he's holding his action. Yeah. No, every once in a while, because that's fun. And it's just the player paying attention, you might even want to make it pretty obvious that they're, whatever this thing is, it's a young blue dragon. Like, don't they have lightning breath? Like, maybe I should think twice.
Yeah.
Just to give you pause. Or maybe you don't and you learn a valuable life lesson. Sure. Either way. Interestingly, just one difference, though, like the fly spell has a duration of 10 minutes. So that's going to be a little longer. You're going to get little more utility out of that than you would
on the draw steel
draw steel version. I don't really have a problem with it because, again, you're dealing with a limited number of beads. So it's like a necklace of fireballs, right? It's cool, but you've only got so much you can throw at this.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't talk about type of action. I guess you would activate it as a bonus action.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
it's a bonus action on your turn.
All right, so there you have it. One trip into the Forge of Creation. Now you've got yourself a brand new magic item for your Draw Steel game or for your 5e game. Mm-hmm. I don't know what more we could possibly offer you today.
I think we've milked this thing as much as we can.
I know I feel like a true designer at this point.
Yeah, we basically are.
I don't see what all the fuss is about. That was easy.
Yeah, we're available for freelance work. If you know anybody, let us know.
Hey, let us know how you would stat this item out. Maybe you would take a different approach in Draw Steel or 5e, or maybe you're playing a different system. How would you put these parts together to fit your system? Again, drop that in the comments. Email thievescantcast@gmail.com. Any final words before we close the curtain?
No, I'm gonna roll these dice one more time.
All right, this is going to determine the outlook of your week ahead.
Yep. I rolled critical fun right there.
Okay, good. I'd love to hear it. Hope you have a great week of life, of gaming, all that, and we can't wait to see you back next week for another round of Thieves Cant. Till then, I'm Jeremy Shane.
And I'm Chris White.
Have a good one. So long.
Thank you for listening to Thieves Cant. Email thievescantcast@gmail.com.